The city of Boston, known for Harvard University, the New England Patriots, and the deadliest molasses flood ever. Welcome back to Weird Rewind. Strap yourself in as we explore 5 of the darkest stories in Boston's history. Our first story takes us back to the 1960s, a time of terror in Boston when a serial killer known as the Boston Strangler prowled the streets. Between 1962 and 1964, 13 women were brutally murdered in their own homes. The victims ranged in age from 19 to 85 and were all sexually assaulted and strangled with their own stockings or similar ligatures. The randomness and brutality of the murders created a climate of fear across the city. The crimes were eventually attributed to Albert DeSalvo, a man who had a history of breaking into homes and was initially caught for a series of other sexual assaults. DeSalvo confessed to being the Boston Strangler while in prison. However, his confessions were inconsistent and contained numerous inaccuracies. This led many to question whether he was indeed the Strangler or if he was taking the blame merely to gain notoriety. In 1973, DeSalvo was found stabbed to death in his cell under mysterious circumstances, adding another layer of intrigue to the case. In 2013, DNA evidence linked DeSalvo to the murder of Mary Sullivan, the last of the Boston Strangler's known victims. This seemed to confirm his involvement in at least one of the murders, but questions remain. Many experts and some law enforcement officials believe that more than one person may have been responsible for the killings, suggesting a complex web of copycat crimes or even a much deeper conspiracy altogether. Next, we turn to a tragedy that shook Boston to its core, the Coconut Grove Fire of 1942, the deadliest nightclub fire in American history. On November 28th, a young busboy attempted to change a light bulb. It is believed that this ignited a decorative palm tree next to the light fitting. A fire broke out and quickly engulfed the entire building. The club was filled to over twice its legal capacity, and the exits were poorly marked and often obstructed. Panic ensued as the flames spread rapidly due to the highly flammable decorations. Tragically, 492 people lost their lives as they tried to escape the inferno. The fire led to significant changes in fire safety regulations nationwide, but the memories of that horrific night remain a haunting chapter in Boston's history. Many who survived were left with deep psychological scars, and the site where Coconut Grove once stood is still remembered with solemnity. Our third story is one of the strangest and deadliest disasters to hit Boston, the Great Molasses Flood of 1919. It might sound bizarre, but on January 15th, a massive storage tank filled with 2.3 million gallons of molasses burst open, sending a sticky wave through the north end at 35 miles per hour. The sheer force of the wave demolished entire buildings, overturned vehicles, and trapped people and animals in a thick, sticky mess. Believe it or not, 21 people lost their lives that day, with over 150 injured. The cleanup took weeks, and the sticky residue lingered for months. The disaster left a lasting mark on the city, and it's said that during hot summer days, the smell of molasses still wafts through the air. Subsequent investigations revealed that the tank had leaked molasses several times before the catastrophe, causing safety concerns that were tragically ignored. The Great Molasses Flood remains a unique and eerie chapter in Boston's history. Our fourth tale involves a controversial and tragic case of justice gone wrong. Nicola Sacco and Bartolomeo Vanzetti were Italian immigrants and anarchists who were accused of robbery and murder in 1920. Despite a lack of conclusive evidence and a trial filled with bias and prejudice, they were convicted and executed in 1927. The case was marred by anti-immigrant sentiment and a fear of radical political beliefs, which heavily influenced the jury and the public opinion at the time. Their trial and subsequent execution sparked international outcry and are now seen as a glaring example of xenophobia and injustice. Protests erupted worldwide, with many believing that Sacco and Vanzetti were innocent and had been targeted for their political beliefs, rather than any real evidence of guilt. In 1977, a proclamation was declared by the governor that they had been unfairly tried and convicted, but the stain on Boston's legal history remains. The case continues to serve as a powerful reminder of the dangers of prejudice and the importance of a fair legal system. Finally, we look back to one of the most infamous events leading up to the American Revolution, the Boston Massacre. On the evening of March 5, 1770, tensions between the colonists and the British soldiers reached a boiling point. A crowd of colonists began to harass a lone British sentry outside the customs house, pelting him with snowballs, rocks, and insults. Reinforcements arrived, and the situation quickly escalated. Amid the chaos and confusion, the soldiers opened fire on the crowd, killing 5 men and wounding several others. This incident was heavily propagandized by the Patriots, notably by Paul Revere, who created an iconic but highly exaggerated engraving of the event. Revere's depiction showed the British soldiers firing in a coordinated volley into the defenseless crowd, which was far from the chaotic reality. This powerful image spread quickly and fueled anti-British sentiment among the colonists. The Boston Massacre was a turning point, fueling the flames of revolution and leading to a greater unrest between the colonies and British authorities. Today, the Boston Massacre is remembered through various historical markers and annual reenactments, serving as a heavy reminder of the complexities and struggles that eventually led to the birth of a nation. The site of the massacre, now marked by a cobblestone circle in Boston's downtown area, remains a place of reflection for visitors and locals alike. Boston's history is filled with tales of tragedy, injustice, and resilience. These stories remind us of the darker chapters that have molded this city's past. We understand that we've left out many important city-shaping events from this video, so please let us know if you'd like to see a follow-up for this edition in the comments below. If you found this episode intriguing, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you won't miss our next deep dive into the eerie corners of history. Until next time, keep questioning the past to understand the present. See you in the next rewind.